Welcome to the Venus and Mars Show, and we are so happy to have you here with us now. I'm Peter, aka Mars.
And I'm Ann, aka Venus.
In this segment, we will be talking about something very disturbing, opiate overdose, their deadly consequences, and how they affect so many in our community and beyond.
We also have Abigail with us, and she will be talking about her career as an actress, singer, and most recently, her role as director for a play.
And as always, we wrap up with a special community acknowledgement. So what's going on, do you think, in society? How come we're losing so many people, and many young people, to drug overdoses, especially opiates?
It's very unfortunate that this generation has to deal with that, but unfortunately they say yes the first time, and that's what gets them hooked. It's not like smoking pot or taking a beer.
Well, of course, a lot of it starts off with some people, many people with prescription drugs. They start off with, they have a painkiller or they need something, they get on that, they take that, and then before you know it, that's gone, and they can get cheaper things like heroin.
Absolutely, and that's why it doesn't just stay to one genre of people.
Yeah.
It expands to everybody, professionals, kids, to functioning adults. It's widespread.
Well, an opiate is a synthetic narcotic resembling opium in addictive properties, usually prescribed for pain relief, but it is very risky. In 2000, my wife and I, children were only 10 and 8, but we heard about there was going to be I wouldn't call it a presentation. It was mothers giving a talk about the children that they lost for drug overdoses. So we thought we would go so we could educate ourselves to maybe some of the signs. When you heard these mothers talk about their sons and daughters literally on hospital beds, shaking uncontrollably, and nothing they could do, your heart could not help from going out and, just really deeply sympathizing and feeling their pain. And I remember that left us with something for us to look for, but we had no idea that was 2000. This thing has gotten out of control in the last decade alone. Now, on my street alone, we have 18 houses, and 6 young people have overdosed on drugs.
Those are horrible numbers, frightening.
2 of which died, an 18-year-old girl and a 20-year-old young man. And this 20-year-old man just passed away a year ago. And his father asked people to share on Facebook what happened, and I did. I shared that story with them. But that's 18 houses. 6 were affected by drug overdoses. And in fact, another one, I was in the hospital looking, visiting, and he was, and I don't kid you when I say this, his father was stroking his head saying, there's nothing going on in his brain. There's no brain activity. Now, fortunately, he is now 32 years old or 31 years old, and he has a house, and he recovered, but he still suffers the effects of long term.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's brain damage.
And I knew this boy since he was 6 years old. He's now 32. And just the other day, I was on my way to Long Island. I shouldn't say the other day, it was a couple of weeks ago. We were going out to Long Island, and I was filling my car up with gasoline at the local Cumberland Farms. And as I was filling up, there's a couple of police cars and ambulance cars racing into the parking lot. And this car couldn't have been more than 50 feet from me. There was a young man who was he was in his 20s, dead of an overdose, right there, right in front of me. In 2015, Afghanistan produced 66% of the world's supply. Deaths have quadrupled in the last decade alone from drug overdose. We're talking about 4 times in 10 years. Now, this is an amazing statistic. In 2016, 52,000 people died in the United States.
And what year was that?
2015 or 16, I think it was 16, of drug overdoses. Now, that surpassed killings from homicides from firearms and also traffic accidents. Something really, really serious, and something is, I don't know what we're gonna do, but something's gotta be done about it. Massachusetts lost over 1,000 people in 2014 to drug overdoses.
Horrifying.
That's just about 3 a day. Now, Brockton, either last year or the year before, had 16 drug overdoses in one day alone. Now, they didn't die, but 16 in one day.
Yeah.
Now, Plymouth, town we're in now, 2014, there were 313 overdoses, of which 10 died. 50% higher than Taunton, which is a comparable town in size, population. Per capita, Plymouth had more, it had a higher overdose rate than Worcester, which is 3 times the size of Plymouth. Overall, a 59% increase from the year before. This is Plymouth now we're talking about.
I don't even know what to think about numbers that are so staggering, but then just Plymouth alone.
Well, it seems to be invisible, though. You don't really hear too much about it. It's not publicized like drunk driving and shootings and things like that.
Well, I absolutely hear a lot about it. And maybe because I'm on Facebook, there's constant banter. And a lot of it is from people who have lost loved ones or fighting the addiction, parents who are begging and pleading, but they don't want their children or their loved ones labeled junkies. So you try to hear both sides of the story, and where's the right balance?
Well, they are trying to take measures to control this, of course. There's but some of the reasons for the spike in the last 10 years that we were just talking about, there's very potent strains that have flooded the streets. Suppliers are cutting it with a synthetic substance that increases somehow the toxicity. Users are taking other drugs at the same time. And it's a readily available supply, ease of obtaining, and it's extremely cheap. And when I say it's cheap, it's mostly heroin.
But can I say that one thing that surprises me about that is that the dealers who are doing this, what they're giving out is deadly. Why would you kill off your customers? I don't understand that part of it either.
Maybe there's a supply of first-time customers that they just keep coming. Imagine if the sheer volume of these deaths were due to drunk driving, or, well, guns is another matter, but let's just say drunk driving. There would be a big public outcry. You know it is. Right now on the highway you drive down, they're always flashing the signs, don't owe you, I owe you. There's really nothing mentioned about overdoses, or check your neighbor or your kids or see what, there's no public awareness that's pushed.
But what do you do when you know that your child is having trouble? I feel sorry for the parents. I feel sorry for family members that they've robbed and stole blind, because these people are sick. But does it come down to a disease? These are the things that I battle within myself.
Yeah.
I don't take either side. I just try to listen to both sides and take it in. But if I were a parent of a child who was fighting such a demon, and you've been robbed blind, but you've tried to help because it's your kid, but you can only do so much.
Well, even if you think you've beat it, it's with you for life. You're always looking over your shoulder for it.
But that's with any mental illness. That's with any kind of disease.
Yeah, but I know, but this is outpacing the other ones, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
In a big way.
And until we understand why and how, you're not going to be able to come up with a resolution.
Well, other than the usual law enforcement methods that they're trying to, you can arrest people, you can bring them to court, but they're trying some other things that I guess they'd be considered innovative to some people. I don't know if they would work, but some of the suggestions that they're going to do is a safe injection site. The idea is supervised injection centers where addicts can use a small amount of heroin in a safe environment.
So is that safe environment going to be private or public?
Right. I guess they consider that it's controlled. The next idea is to prescribe heroin. The idea of this is a similar approach to providing safe injection sites. This strategy gives doctors the ability to provide or prescribe small amounts of heroin to those who have a chronic dependency on it. Medication-assisted treatment. The idea of this one is to increase the number of treatment facilities that offer medications like Suboxone, which can ease withdrawal symptoms and suppress the cravings for opiates. Naloxone for all. The idea, allow anyone access to naloxone, a medication that blocks the effects of an opioid overdose. Another idea, and this won't be new to a lot of you, is marijuana as medicine. Mm-hmm. The idea is to legalize marijuana as a heroin treatment because it helped people shed their addiction. And the last idea is don't arrest addicts, to treat them. The idea, police should look to push nonviolent drug offenders into treatment rather than throw them in jail. So, I don't know. I think we got a long way to go. I think, unfortunately, we're going to see a lot of young people still die if this is ever to be rectified, if we're ever to get our arms around this problem. It seems to be running out of control. People are at wit's end of what to do. What do you do with offenders? What do you do with the drug dealers? How do you stop the flow? And meanwhile, there's going to be a lot of young people continuing to die and suffer from this.
It's very sad for everyone.
And no area is untouched. It knows no bounds. It knows no economic standing or stature or where you stand in society.
And whatever out of those choices, they need to choose something that's aggressive. Hopefully it lassoes it all very quickly. Because if these numbers have increased so high over just a short period of time, imagine if we let it go for another 4 years. What numbers we would be sitting here, telling the audience about.
Something for all of us to think about. The devastation this scourge has inflicted upon our young people and on our society as a whole, Anne. Is there any answer to it?
I'm hopeful. Really hopeful. It's so widespread. I have my doubts, but it's all very sobering.
It sure is. On a lighter note, when we come back, we'll hear from Abigail Jean Lucas, who will share with us her acting and singing experiences and more.
Welcome back. Today we have Abigail Jean Lucas with us.
Hello, Abigail. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you on our show.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
I've worked with you before, and that's how we've come to know each other, and I found out an awful lot about you.
Oh, yeah?
So that you're very well-rounded.
Oh, thank you.
So you have acting, you have singing, you have dancing, you've actually directed. So why don't we start at the beginning? What did you do first out of all of those things?
Well, as a kid, I danced.
Yeah.
I danced, so I did like a variety of dance, and then as I kind of got older, I did a little bit of singing, and then, life moves on, and then as I, started to explore the world a little bit more, I really dove into the arts deeper, and so acting came about and started writing my own music, and started a little bit of directing.
So the acting, how did you get involved in that? What brought you and inspired you?
Yeah, so I happened to just be kind of walking past a poster, and it said,
Like in a store window?
Yeah, like in a cafe or something.
Yeah.
And it was like, audition for this piece, and I didn't really know that much about acting. So I was like, okay, I'll go do that, kind of a risk taker.
And what kind of an audition was it?
It was just a monologue, a basic monologue. It was for the play called The Stronger by August Strindberg.
Live on stage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. 2-woman play. One woman speaks all the time. The other woman doesn't say anything.
Pantomime.
Yeah, her part's harder.
I'm sure Peter wishes I was pantomime, but anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll never happen.
Yeah. And so I just auditioned. I got the part, and then, after I did it, there was just something in me that was like, oh, like this feels like I know this.
How long ago was that about, this first foray into
Yeah,
acting?
7 years.
Okay.
And then I just started getting more and more interested in it and doing some film and,
Do you belong to any, things like Boston Castings or LDI Castings or CP, any of that stuff?
Yeah, I have profiles up there, so,
Yeah.
I do some networking there. I do a lot of the independent film work too.
And just one more, how about New England Actor? Are you part of that group?
Yep.
Oh, good, we're both part of that. I was
Yeah.
going to suggest it, as I suggested it to Ann,
Right.
to join.
Yep.
It's a wonderful.
Well, that's good for anybody that wants to get into
Right.
this realm at all.
Yeah, New England Actor's great.
Yeah, I started looking for stuff there, student films, independent films. Yeah, it's a great network.
Are you union now or non-union?
I'm eligible, but I haven't actually crossed the threshold
Okay.
to be unionized, yeah.
So then what came next?
Well, then I just kind of recently brought a little bit of the music back into my world. I did that before acting, and I recently just decided that, maybe I'd share a little bit of that.
Which I confess, I
Wow.
cheated and looked on your Facebook
Thank you.
page. She actually did a whole song and played the piano with it, and I'm going to tell everybody they need to do that
Oh,
and take a
gosh.
look at it. Sorry, but
I'm
I'm going to do
already
that.
going to look.
Yeah, very nice.
Can I ask a question real quick while I have it in my feeble brain? What kind of singing is it? Is it like? No, I'm just asking. Is it opera or is it rock or is it country or is it
Yeah.
a mix of everything or what?
I mean, music was kind of like my therapy, in a sense, like my poetry, like all sorts of aspects of my life would come out in song. It just happens to a lot of people. And so it just kind of, it's very raw, I guess, when it comes out of me. I'd say if I'm going to put it into a genre, it's probably, I'm a singer-songwriter, but sort of like R&B-ish soul, kind of, pop a little bit.
Yeah, definitely strikes the emotion.
Yeah.
That's where it goes the most.
Well, there are so many genres now. Maybe that was kind of an odd question.
No,
I just,
I'd love to be country. I totally want to wear like cowboy hat and some boots and like get up there and do
And
country.
you need to strive for
I
that.
know, right?
You're getting well-rounded here. That's in the future,
That'd
too.
be awesome. But yeah, so I sat down, when I sit down at the piano, I love that.
Now, that's kind of the first that I've seen you post of singing. Is
Yes.
that something that you want to do? What, out of all of these things that you've done, what's the most gripping to you that you want to get into?
It's hard for me to even know necessarily. I would love to maybe combine some of the acting with some of the music.
That's a good.
And maybe like do a role where the character uses their vocals more.
like a musical, though.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean
a
music.
movie that's a musical.
Yeah, maybe a movie.
Are we talking film or are we talking on stage?
More film,
Okay, yeah.
like a character who
Right.
is a singer or who sings to themselves or uses music. I actually noticed that in a lot of my characters, they sometimes hum. Like I notice sound is a big way for me to access a character.
Okay.
Like how my voice shifts. I notice. Like I'm like, oh, I'm talking a little bit lower. I don't know why that is. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about voiceover?
I have. I haven't really figured out how to access that market yet. I would love to.
Well, the reason why I'm mentioning is that I have trained to be a professional voice artist.
Oh, really?
I have a studio at home.
I can learn a lot from you.
I don't use it, but I'm
Oh.
not talking about that. What I found was, you know how you sing in the shower and all that. I mean, everybody does. I actually believe my voice improved from voiceover. So it's another training mechanism is what I'm trying.
Interesting.
Because I have done some wild characters that you have to animate, and by doing that, I found that some of the singing that I used to do, and I'm not going to sing in front of people, I don't mean that, wasn't as grating as bad as I thought it was in the past, that's all. So it's another tool to use to train for singing.
Yeah,
And
I
I've
like
talked to
that.
other people about it. It's not just me saying this.
Yeah.
So it's just and it's fun.
I
It's a
would
lot of
imagine
fun.
so. Yeah, I'd love to do it. Cartoons. Oh my gosh, to be
Yeah,
able to
cute.
play an animal
there's all
or
sorts of audio books.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff,
Yeah.
So anyway, I just
Recently, you did play for a day. Michael Gonza. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, great guy.
Good. You liked working with him?
Yeah.
Now, what was your role in that play for the day? Tell us what it was like from beginning to end and how long it took to get from start to finish that day.
Yep. So that's sort of the second like short play that I've directed. And that structure is, the writers start at 7:30 and they have until 1 o'clock to write their short script, about 10 pages. And there's some guidelines around it, maybe some objects or, keep sounds to a minimum, that sort of stuff.
So how many to a group? I know there was probably like 6 to 8 different groups. And how many people to a group do you think?
2 to 3 as far as actors go, and then a director, and then the writer.
Okay, so you choose those roles when you first get in there at 7:30 in the morning.
I'm pretty sure Michael chooses those roles.
Oh, for the people.
Yeah, so when I got there as a director, he was
Okay.
like, here's your script and here's your actors.
Okay.
So then we went to a room, so at about like 1 or 2 o'clock, we went to a separate room and we just kind of worked together for the next 5, 6
Now,
hours.
this thing is called Play for a Day, as you say?
Yes, and he puts it on once a month.
Okay, is this something that, I've never heard of it before.
Well, Michael has just come out with this. He's a big fan of saying, and he's a trainer too, for an acting coach. He has his own studio and training.
But this is his concept.
This is his
Yeah,
concept.
because I've never heard of it, Play
And
for a
he
Day.
truly believes
Yeah.
that acting is a muscle, and if you don't use it, you're going to get atrophy. It will just die off.
Boy, mine must be really flabby right now.
Get back to the gym.
Right. But you need to be well-rounded, just like on movies. Have you done like movies being behind the scenes, being on in front of the camera and back of the camera, so you get the experience of everything?
Yeah.
Have you done that?
Yeah, I originally kind of just started being in front of the camera, but I just noticed on a bunch of the sets, when I wasn't working as an actor, I was like, oh, I want to be on the backside of the camera, see what that's like. So the director would, just let me come and watch. And I loved what I learned on that side of the camera. I learned so much on how to be a better actor. Like using the light and just, the framing and how to carry your body in ways that, I didn't think about as an actor.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've started to kind of do both.
Well, there's a whole different eye to being creative from behind the camera
Totally.
versus to being in the front of the camera.
Yeah.
So you have to switch those hats, which
Totally.
is why it's really good for you. I mean, being so well-rounded that you have all those experiences too.
Yeah, and I wrote and produced a short movie
Oh, you
of my
did?
own. Yeah.
What's it called?
It's called Choice.
Okay. Is that on YouTube? Right?
It's on my Vimeo page.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was one of the pieces I learned there is like the mindset of behind the camera, like I'm producing, I'm working with details and tasks to then I'm acting was so different for me. Like that was such a huge lesson to feel that difference.
Yeah. Turn it on and turn it off.
Right. And the value of both sides, in both aspects. That's why I love film. It like brings together so many different kinds of people.
Yeah.
So is this something that you think you're going to follow through for the rest of your life, doing all these wonderful things?
I mean, I want to.
Oh, no, I mean, yeah, obviously a lot of us would love to do it for a living. I mean, I personally would love to be a voice artist for life. I mean, you can work any way you want and all that. But I'm still going to do it in acting, even if I'm still working my regular job, because
Yep.
I like this stuff. So anyway, that's what I would like to do.
Yeah, just lets the creativity flow.
Yeah, and I mean, right now it's kind of a balance of like bringing, more experience and more jobs when it comes to like the acting and the film and the art and just reducing other parts, until one tips
Yeah.
to be the majority of my life.
So you're really striving for that role that's
sure.
going to combine everything that you are into that one.
Yep.
Would you rather do that on stage live, or would you rather do that in a movie?
I feel like right now, so many doors have opened for me as far as film goes. So that's kind of just the direction I went. I would love to get back into theater. I just haven't quite started knocking on those doors yet.
Yeah.
I will. I started working on some stuff, but right now I just have kind of a bunch of film stuff going on.
It's really great to have choices though like that, and the confidence to do those things. I mean, none of it's easy, all of it's fun.
Yeah. And they're different, they're really different elements, film versus theater.
Now, do you
Well,
play any
that's-
other instruments other than the piano?
I play piano and guitar. I mean, I play them well enough for my songs. I prefer sometimes if I'm really gonna like record something to have the pianist play it or the guitarist, because they're much better than I am.
Well,
Well, it allows you to concentrate on
And
the
this
one
point.
piece that you want instead of being
Sure.
a twofer.
Yes, making sure I'm not like messing up the notes, but yeah. But when I play with myself or just record on my own, sure, I play the piano and the guitar.
Now, how can anyone find you? What do you want people to look for?
Yeah.
On Facebook? Do you want them to follow you on Twitter?
Yeah, Facebook is a really easy way to access me, whether it's my profile page personally reaching out or, I have a business page also.
And that Facebook is Abigail Jean
Lucas.
Okay.
Yep. But I have all my film work on Vimeo.
Okay.
So it's Vimeo/Abigail Jean Lucas. Yeah, so reels and clips and stuff like that.
Well,
yeah.
thank you for sharing everything with us and the audience.
Oh my gosh, thank you for
You're a
having me.
delight.
I really
You're a
appreciate you
delight.
having me here.
Maybe you'll come back after you do that.
I'd love to.
Good.
She's going to be a hard act for me to follow.
Oh.
She always has been. You just didn't know it. Abigail is so amazing and so accomplished, isn't she, Peter?
Yes, and directing a play, very, very impressive.
You said it. And if you'd like to follow Abigail, you can do so on Facebook. You can find her under Abigail Jean Lucas.
And now, we would like to close out our show with a special appreciation of something very positive from our community. And
Tonight, we present the Plymouth Police Department Mountain Bike Unit. In June of 2009, Chief Michael Botteri began looking for ways to curtail crime in the area of Plymouth's downtown, waterfront, and business districts. For these purposes, he implemented a mountain bike unit.
the Plymouth Police Mountain Bike Unit is unique, as officers on mountain bikes are able to patrol areas that are not accessible to conventional police cruisers. More importantly, the mountain bike team is an ideal tool that encourages community policing partnerships with residents, business owners, and the tens of thousands of tourists that visit America's hometown every year.
The mountain bike unit can respond quickly to areas with heavy pedestrian and motor vehicle traffic. Since 2009, officers in the unit have been credited with saving lives and reducing crime. When asked, mountain bike officer Jason Flynn said this about the unit.
I love that I have the ability to be in the open air. I am able to talk to citizens as well as tourists and let them know what the police department is doing. In turn, I gain their trust and make them feel safe. I am also constantly engaged in conversations where I learn a lot about the people visiting this town. I have met people from all over this country and from different cultures all around the world. I love my job.
The mountain bike unit also deploys at parades, road races, special town events, and hotspots where reported crime has occurred. The unit's ability for speed, as well as stealth, drastically increases the Plymouth Police Department's ability to provide a public safety blanket over the town.
Mountain bike officers may be available for demonstrations or to assist in your special event. Spring is on the way, and so is the Plymouth Police Mountain Bike Unit. Well, that does it for this episode.
Good night, God bless, and have wonderful happenings in your lives.
Until next time, where planets align and, well, often collide, I'm Peter.
And I'm Ann.
Good night.
Night.